This is a dystopian future where the poor struggle to survive and the rich are isolated in an enclosed city called Citadel. The Earth is now on the brink of an ecological crisis because of a failed genetically modified organism that escaped to the wild that messed up with all the edible plants and living creatures except humans. A young girl, living with her paralyzed father, is not giving up to find a way to survive. The film opens with a 13-year-old girl named Vesper with her drone struggling to find food. Living animals are almost extinct in this world. All that is left are worms and the evolved plants that look like aliens. At home, she prepares the food and feeds her bedridden father, Darius. Darius is paralyzed and is only alive because of makeshift machines. It turns out that the drone is controlled by her father, acting like his body to accompany her daughter around. After feeding her father, they go to an old lab to check on the caterpillar she found earlier. Going back to their house, Vesper and the drone stop on their way when they see the front door open. They carefully enter and find the house in shambles and the generator powering the makeshift machine broken. With her father barely hanging on, Vesper goes to her uncle named Jonas. In a compound led by her uncle, she found the people surrounding a genetically created human called Jug. It is pinned down by the fallen scaffolding, injuring the Jug's leg. Jonas orders the young man responsible for the Jug to kill it. After the spectacle, Vesper approaches her uncle, asking him for help. But Jonas says they don't give anything for free, and Vesper already anticipated it. Inside, Vesper donates blood in exchange for some bacteria. Jonas convinces Vesper to stay in his compound, saying that living alone in the forest is dangerous. Then, he starts being to her. But Vesper bravely asserts that she will not be one of Jonas's breeders. After the procedure, Vesper asks for her bacteria, but Jonas says that she needs to wait because he will have to sell her blood to Citadel first. Hearing that she needs to wait for 2 days and knowing that her father won't last that long without energy, she tries to steal back her blood. Jonas stops her and throws her out, but she goes around and sneaks back inside. She is spotted by a kid, but he just lets her go inside. Seeing a greenhouse with grown plants, she steals some seeds. On her way home, she sees a crashing Citadel ship. At home, she shows Darius the seeds she got from Jonas. Her father tells her to put the seeds back in the greenhouse before Jonas notices it. But she's determined to make the seeds fertile, even though she knows it's quite impossible. She wants to unlock the properties of the seeds to work in the Citadel. Darius discourages his daughter to leave because she belongs in the forest with him. Disappointed, Vesper storms out of their home to the forest. There, she finds a woman surrounded by evolving plant-looking worms feeding on the woman's wounds. Vesper helps the woman and brings her home to treat her wounds. After some time, Vesper talks to her father about the woman. Darius tells Vesper that the woman is not their responsibility. But Vesper thinks the woman can help them by bringing her to the Citadel. Unknown to them, the woman wakes up and overhears their conversation. Hearing that Darius wants her to die, the woman tried to get a knife near her, but she falls to the floor. Vesper hears the noise and quickly goes to her. The woman wants to find the man she was with when they crashed, but Vesper tells her she won't be able to go that far. The woman, whose name is Camellia, a citizen of the Citadel, reveals that the man she was with is her father. She asks Vesper for help, but Darius interrupts them, saying that they're not her servant. But Vesper wants to help her. Camellia then promises that she will be rewarded for helping her. Later that night, Vesper gives Camellia food, but she's not used to eating soup with worms. Camellia asks about them, and it's revealed that Darius used to serve in the Citadel army, but once injured, the only thing they gave them is the drone. Camellia says they can help them in the Citadel and assures Vesper that she will help them because her father is an influential man. But Darius starts convulsions. Vesper doesn't know what to do, but Camellia calmly puts her mouth into Darius's mouth. Darius starts calming down, but Camellia seems exhausted after. The next day, the father and daughter talk about what Camellia did last night. Curious, Vesper asks his father if everyone in Citadel can do that, but he doesn't know. Back at home, Camellia discovers Vesper's laboratory. Meanwhile, Vesper and the drone find the ship where Camelia's father is, but it turns out Jonas and his group are also there. Jonas asks the old man what they're going to do with the blood that he's selling to them. Jonas suspects that the people of Citadel are using children's blood to make their children special. He then murders the old man by covering his nose and mouth. Vesper tries to stop Jonas, but she can't do anything. Jonas wonders why she's eager to help the old man. He questions Vesper, but she didn't answer him. On their way home, Darius tells his daughter that they will have to steal Jonas's transceiver to report to the Citadel what happened before telling Camelia about her father. Luckily, Camelia believes them. Vesper checks on her wound and is surprised to see that it's all healed up already. Amazed, Vesper brings Camelia to her greenhouse, and the woman is amazed by Vesper's creation. Camelia reveals that her father, Elias, is the head of synthetic biology in Citadel, and she's excited to show Vesper's creation to him, not knowing that her father is gone. Darius secretly entrusts Vesper to Camelia, knowing that he won't make it to the Citadel. Later that night, Camelia asks about Vesper's mother. She reveals her mother joined the Pilgrims about a year ago. Pilgrims are a group of wanderers collecting old junk everywhere. Changing the topic, Vesper shows her a book about animals, and the two talk about them. Vesper also asks why the Citadel is closed to people like them. Camelia tells her that the Citadel likes control over everything, which includes resources and labor. That is also the reason why the Citadel creates jugs to be their slaves. The two then spend the rest of the night playing music with Vesper's mother's instrument. The next day, Vesper and Darius the drone sneak inside the compound. Unfortunately, Jonas finds the drone and held it captive, saying that he was fixing its gyroscope. He questions Vesper about the stolen seeds and the extra passenger on the Citadel ship, but Vesper lies about them. After quickly leaving the compound, Vesper tries to make the drone fly, but it can't fly properly. Meanwhile, Jonas orders his men to follow Vesper. Back in the forest, Vesper discovers the dead body of a kid that helps her steal the seeds back then. She immediately runs away, but Jonas's men catch her. She tries to fight back, but they manage to put a mark on her. They then let her go, and she quickly goes home to fix the drone. Camelia asks her what happened, but she's too worried about the drone. The woman confronts her. Vesper reveals to Camilla's father is dead. Trying her best to keep her composure, she asks Vesper to bring her to her father, but she immediately breaks down when she sees his dead body. Vesper comforts her, and she discovers something about Camelia. She's a jug. Camelia then reveals that she was created by Elias. That's why she's different, and they're actually escaping the Citadel when they crash. The Citadel wants to kill Camelia because creating an intelligent jug is a crime. Vesper realizes that Camilla will never take them to the Citadel. She gets mad at her. At home, Vesper tells Camilla to leave and goes back to fixing the drone. When she's done, Darius tells her that she needs to leave because Jonas already put a mark on her, signifying that she belongs to him now. But Vesper tells him that Camilla is a jug. She also decides to surrender Camelia to Jonas, so he'll go easy on her. Darius tells her daughter to go easy on Camilla. Meanwhile, Camelia tries to take away her own life, but Vesper manages to stop her. Vesper talks some sense out of her. Afterward, Vesper orders Camelia to follow her to her lab. Vesper shows her how a flower manages to change its behavior. If a flower can change its purpose, so can Camelia even if she's a jug. She then asks for a sample to study Camelia. Later that night, Vesper discovers that something is locked in her DNA. Camelia tells Vesper that living in the Citadel is not as good as she thinks it is, that it's lonely and sad. She and Elias only have each other. Vesper continues her study and discovers that the DNA of Camelia can be used to unlock the Citadel seeds. Darius asks Camelia to take Vesper to the other Citadel, but Vesper doesn't want to leave her father. Vesper and the drone go to the old lab, while Camelia is left to take care of Darius's body. Unfortunately, Jonas arrives at the house and sees Camelia. He threatens to kill Darius, but Camelia stops him and says she'll go with him. Jonas discovers that Camelia is a jug. He then forces Camelia to acknowledge him as her new master. Vesper then arrives and attacks him. The two women fight Jonas, and they manage to contain him by stabbing his hand at the table. When the situation calms down, Vesper makes a deal with Jonas to supply all the food they need. But it turns out that Jonas already made a contact with the Citadel and tells them about Camelia. Later that night, while working on the seeds, ships from the Citadel arrive at Vesper's house. They release something that looks like a slime that spreads all over the house. It then evaporates, and Darius the drone orders them to not breathe it in. Camelia says she'll turn herself in, but Darius knows it's too late. He orders them to leave, but Vesper still doesn't want to leave him. Darius then tells Vesper that they will trick the soldier of Citadel instead, but he secretly bequeaths Vesper to Camellia. Afterward, the soldiers of Citadel arrive at the compound. Jonas greets them, but they shoot him in the head. Meanwhile, at Vesper's house, they found Darius's body. The drone suddenly flies in front of the generator. A soldier immediately shoots it and blows up the generator at the back. This caused an explosion, killing everybody in the house. Vesper tries to go back, but Camellia stops her. She comforts the grieving child. Seeing the incoming soldiers, they run to Vesper's garden. They try to hide, but a soldier still manages to find them. The two women fight the soldier, and Vesper uses the killer plant in the surroundings to take down the soldier. They continue escaping when Camellia suddenly stops. She tells Vesper that she will surrender herself for her to safely go to the other citadel. Vesper begs her to stay with her, but she kisses her and Vesper falls asleep. Camellia then waits for the soldier in the garden. The next day, Vesper goes to the garden and finds it burnt to the ground. She plants some seeds and hears a noise nearby, but they're just some kids from Jonas's compound. Vesper continues her way to the other citadel and the other kids follow her. As days go by, they all decided to stick together. The children arrive at the place where the pilgrims are hiding. It turns out all the metal scraps and junk they're collecting are used to build a tall tower. The other children and the pilgrims watch as Vesper climbs the tower. At the top, Vesper spots the other citadel at the end of the forest. The movie ends with Vesper letting the fertile seeds blown away by the air as the sun rises for the new day.